Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Jacob as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track by an act named MC HotDog titled The Dirty Artist, if that isn't mistranslated. And we're going to listen through this track from start till finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do this. There are CC subtitles as well in English as I understand it. Yep, English, good, awesome. Always good to confirm that, you know? You got these Reese's synths. Are they Reese's? The Moogish or Reese synths. I'm gonna have to check the name of them, but there's very kind of 90s hip. Man, my words, I'm struggling today. 90s hip hop, West Coast vibes from this, you know? Nice chill, soft drum beat there with the guitars with the wah pedals. Oh, some jazzy extensions there, semitonal shifts. Yeah, he just misses 808. Yeah, no, I mean, 808s have come back in a lot of situations there, but yeah, no, I agree with that though. Nothing wrong with a good solid bass line. I mean, like, the flow is solid. I'm really happy with the way he's rapping, and to be honest with you, I prefer the old school kind of rapping where they took things a bit too slowly. Especially in languages that I don't necessarily understand, or even in English, I just find that there's just too many words. Speed rapping's dope, you know, like the technique and the proficiency is great, and it's a way to establish yourself or sort of differentiate yourself from other musicians based on your skill level as a rapper, but at the same time, I think there's also, like, the story is just as equally important. I feel like if you can't get all the words, that's part of it's being lost. Ah, mudslinging, that's the deal there, okay. Catchy bass line. Da, 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 da. Catchy melody there. The phrasing is repeated there. Easy to follow along to and appreciate. I enjoy that. The flow's sick. We're understanding we need to make it catchy as well as heartfelt. And the little drum grooves as well, little drum fills there with the snare parts are sensational. Respect to the artist, do you remember me? I like this part of the show. I like it. I like how it's representative of all the mudslinging, all the stuff being covering him as he's just trying to find his authenticity, his own journey, his way through life. More intense with the vocal performance here. That passion there. He wants to be an artist. I think it's testament to the whole fragility of the image in hip-hop and rap, but in most genres, and masculinity, especially, you know, the whole toxic masculinity thing. I think having someone being that real.
想要敬你们，也敬我自己，敬后台所有兄弟姐妹，敬所有 rapper， 敬艺术家。
I mean, like, that's like one of the most authentic rap performances I've heard in quite a while, in and out of these reviews. I mean, I think that's basically the end of the video with the sponsorship down the side for the... Actually, I'm covering it, so I'm not that apologetic for covering it up, but if you're interested, there's a sponsorship for like a strawberry drink down here. So this is the conclusion of my review of this track, The Dirty Artist, if I'm not mistaken, from MC HotDog. What do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone who is at a point in their life where they're obviously a rapper, they're competent at what they do, they're an artist, they're a storyteller, and they're a musician. And I think, especially in this competition, or just in the music industry in general, there is a fierce competition that can sometimes just turn into, because like rap, don't get me wrong, like, you know, rap is a type of combat. It's a combative kind of music, you know, usually, you know, rap battles between different musicians, freestyling and all that kind of stuff. That a lot of it is that, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's almost like this guy's commenting on just all the stuff flung at him on social media, outside of it, you know, all the comments made about him, all the kind of BS that he has to deal with on an everyday basis, simply to just be able to write music that he wants to and be authentic to himself and his craft. And I think that the slower delivery combined with the way that he really managed to articulate the words in his own way, the variation of the, you know, the intensities of the vocal performances between like the verse and the chorus sections, the change in mood shown by the guy, the moment where there was just a great chance for people to just listen to the accompaniment with the keys, the guitars, the drums, the bass, etc., whilst he got covered in all that paint, and him coming back there for an even more passionate delivery on that last outro chorus. It's really enthralling, and it's a really beautiful insight into a human being. I love when musicians do this. I love when they can get past the facade of trying to look tough and trying to look like they're hard, and they can deal with whatever, because we're human beings, we're not robots. And this guy has my complete respect, MC HotDog. He's a fantastic rapper. And again, thanks also to whoever subtitled the video. I think it might actually have been Jacob who did that, if I'm not mistaken. But it's just wonderful that they did that. I think it was fantastic work on that front. You know, because as someone who doesn't speak the language natively, I'm just not going to know otherwise. I'm going to feel stuff, but not know why I feel stuff. So for me to be able to get all the words through nice and clearly, it's fantastic. And I think, just as a closing comment before we move on to the rest of the track, or the conclusion, that feeling that he talks about of wanting to do this or die or something like that during the chorus, it's really that meaningful to him, and I'm just glad that we had the opportunity to hear him out throughout that passage. I think that the actual track at like 3 minutes was a proper length for it. We had lots of context in the verses, and the motif didn't overstay its welcome, and there was variation between those verses and choruses, you know. A really catchy hook line with that vocal repetition of the vocal melodies and rhythms, alongside the keys that were nice and sort of gentle in the background with some semitonal shifts there, but those jazzy extensions really kind of meted the mood and made it a bit bittersweet, you know. Made it more palatable to anyone who was maybe feeling quite a lot there, but never went too much into the major or minor direction then, which I think was important, because it was a mature take on it. And I think that when you use those types of chords in music, it infers a sense of maturity there, a sense of control, but then you need to kind of edge the listener over with the vocal delivery and the style that you do it with, and the way you do it, in order to get them feeling how they felt. And that's why you had people crying, you know. I think that the way that the track was done with the drum kit, like the acoustic drums again, and the 808 kind of bass line, as well as the keys and the guitar parts with the white guitars, was very much like hip hop was done like in the early 90s. And it was a throwback to that. It makes sense when he talks about having that old school kind of style there. And his vocal style reminded me a lot of MCs and rappers from that part of hip hop, proud of the history of this genre. And I think it's great to have someone to contrast to a lot of the music nowadays where there's a lot of vocal modulation. It's very busy. A lot of it is like really scared of having the listener kind of fall off a little bit. So a lot of it seems like it's really made for the attention deficit that's been brought on by people simply not being able to cope with things, not being always engaging. I think that to just kind of have the listener soothed and calmly sort of led into a track like this to enjoy it is really clever. So the chords are palatable, the bass line followed the root notes of the chords, and the wah parts were nice little bits of extension on the high end there. And yeah, great tune, man. I think there was studio recording, mixing, and mastering. The production was great. I think the quality of the engineering was solid. The vocals came through nice and clearly, especially for a live performance there with the filtering and EQing being done really well and without much more treatment than that. It was a raw take done by a really competent rapper. The drums were nice and gentle there. There was a bit of compression, but not much. It sounded more like live drums there with the bass line nicely controlled and the low end being sidechained a little bit, but not too much. The pads and the occasional guitar parts on the sides filling it in the mid to high range, and it was great. It was great, like everything had a place in the stereo field and the frequency spectrum. It didn't feel over compressed. There was dynamic range to it. The level was solid, and it was nice and loud without pumping. I mean, effectively, this is my review of The Dirty Artist by MC HotDog, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go check out their various social medias and YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as any the hell more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world. And I will catch you in the next SP Patrons review. Spiderhands Out.